I know I'm not much to look at, but would you maybe come with me? Just this once. Marin stood in the hospital break room doorway, her scrubs still damp from a long shift. The young man before her, rail-thin, with second-hand shoes, and eyes that carried too much weight for someone barely 20, held a crumpled flyer for the hospital's annual charity gala. His hands trembled. She should have been exhausted, 16 hours on her feet, but something in his voice made her pause. "What's your name?" she asked gently. "Colin," he said. I'm a student volunteer here, radiology department." Marin had seen him before, always early, always polite, always eating vending machine crackers for lunch. She'd watched him give his dinner voucher to an elderly patient once, then slip out quietly. "Why me, Colin?" He looked down. "Because you're the only person here who's ever asked if I was okay. Last month, when my scholarship check got delayed, you left that sandwich on my locker. You didn't say anything, but I knew." Marin's throat tightened. She'd hoped he wouldn't notice. "The gala's black tie," she said softly. "Do you have—" "I'll figure it out," he said quickly. I graduate in 2 months. I've never been to anything like that. And I thought maybe it'd be nice to go with someone kind." She studied his face, proud, hopeful, terrified. "Pick me up at 7, she said. The next 2 weeks blurred together. Marin didn't tell him who she was. Not about her father, Nathaniel Hargrave, whose name hung on 3 hospital wings. Not about the trust fund she'd never touched. Not about the penthouse she kept empty while living in a modest apartment near the hospital. She'd spent 5 years hiding from her last name. After her mother's death, after watching her father bury grief in mergers and acquisitions, she'd walked away. Nursing school, night shifts, a life built on her own terms. But Colin made her remember something she'd almost forgotten, what it felt like to be seen for who you were, not what you had. She watched him between shifts, saw him tutoring other students in the library, saw him hold the hand of a scared child during an X-ray, saw him give his umbrella to a janitor in the rain, then sprint home soaked. On gala night, he arrived in a borrowed suit, too big in the shoulders, too short in the sleeves, but he'd polished those second-hand shoes until they gleamed. "You look beautiful," he whispered. Marin wore a simple blue dress, no jewelry, nothing that would give her away. "You look brave," she said. His laugh was nervous. "I'm terrified." The gala was everything she'd avoided for years. Crystal chandeliers, champagne towers, her father's colleagues glittering and self-important. She felt Colin tense beside her as they entered. "Marin," a voice cut through the crowd. Her father, tall, silver-haired, his surprise quickly masked by politeness. "Dad," she said quietly. Colin's eyes widened. "Dad?" Nathaniel's gaze moved to the borrowed suit, the worn shoes. Something flickered across his face, not judgment, but recognition. He'd been poor once too, before the empire. "You must be Marin's guest," he said, extending his hand. "I'm Nathaniel." Colin shook it, speechless. "We should talk later," Nathaniel said to Marin, then disappeared into the crowd. Colin turned to her pale. "Your father owns this hospital?" "He owns 4 hospitals, and I haven't spoken to him in 5 years. Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you asked me to come. Not my father's daughter, not someone who could do something for you. Just me." His jaw worked. I shouldn't have—" "Dance with me," she interrupted. They danced. Colin was clumsy, stepping on her toes twice, but he held her like she was something precious. Around them, the wealthy swirled in practiced elegance, but in that moment, Maren felt more real than she had in years. "I've applied for a residency program, pediatric radiology. It's across the country. I probably won't get it." "Why pediatrics?" "Because kids deserve someone who remembers what it's like to be scared, to feel small." Her chest ached. "You'll get it." "Even if I do, I won't be able to afford—" "Colin," she said, stopping. "Do you know why I became a nurse?" He shook his head. "Because my mother died in a hospital where no one had time to hold her hand, where efficiency mattered more than compassion. I wanted to be different. I wanted to matter in a way that money couldn't buy." His eyes glistened. "You do matter, to every patient on that floor. To you?" "Yeah," he whispered, "to me." At evening's end, Nathaniel found them outside. The city lights glowed softly. Colin stood apart, giving them space. "He's a good young man," his father said. "He is. You've been happy these 5 years." Maren nodded. "I have. Your mother would be proud. I should have told you that sooner. Dad, I've set up a scholarship," he continued, "for students like him. Full residency funding, no strings. Your mother always said the best investment was in kind hearts." He paused. "I'd like you to help me run it, if you're willing." Tears blurred her vision. "I'm willing." He squeezed her hand, then left. Colin walked her home. At her door, he stopped. "I don't know what happens next. I don't fit in your world." "I don't fit there either, but maybe we could build something that fits us, something real." "Even if I'm 3,000 miles away?" "Especially then, because I'd rather wait for something true than settle for something easy." He smiled, genuine, hopeful, breaking. "Be my date to the next dance?" "Every dance," she whispered. He kissed her forehead, soft and reverent, then walked into the night. 6 months later, Colin called from California. "I got the residency," he said, breathless. "And Maren, they told me about the scholarship, about your father, about you." "You earned it," she said firmly. "When I finish, when I come back, will you still—" "I'll be here, waiting for the kindest person I know." Kindness doesn't measure worth by wealth. It measures it by the size of the heart. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, subscribe, and comment.